Real quick before we get into today's video, just want to thank the people over on Patreon who have taken the time out to help support the channel, and just got to say thank you so much from the bottom of my heart for your support. Once I start offering memberships and figure out what to offer for memberships on this channel, I'll start adding the names of YouTube members as well. So with that being said, let's go ahead and get into the review. Yo, what's going on everybody? It's your boy Naruto Explain here, bringing you guys a review for Boruto Naruto Next Generations episode 179. And now that episode 179 is done and in the books, I gotta say right now, holy crap, dude. Holy crap. This episode, I know this episode was outsourced. However, I gotta say, I love that we see the car members, or some of the car members, actually interacting, and the Easter eggs that they put into this episode. Holy crap, dude. Like, if you read the manga, there are scenes in this episode which I am going to talk about, but I'm going to stop just short of going into full-blown spoilers. That way I don't ruin it for anime-only fans, because with the Boruto vs. Kwaki trailer that dropped at Jump Fest, I'm expecting there to be a lot more anime-only fans, so I'm going to be a little bit more careful in these reviews than I normally am. So I gotta say, the manga Easter eggs are absolutely insane. So the first thing that I want to talk about is the fact that I like how this episode actually gave us more information on just how badly Victor screwed up, and why all of a sudden that Victor, the things that happen in probably going to be the next episode or the episode after this, where they finally adapt the end of the Mujina Bandits arc, where you see the car organization meet about the vessel. For those of you guys who did not know, this car actuation arc takes place in the time period between after Shojoji got captured and investigated by Konoha, but before the car organization meets about the vessel. And so this episode at the end directly sets up that meeting with Car. That's the reason why you see Jigen in that room that he's in, where all the car members, the inner members, gather and assemble at. That's the reason why you see Jigen there, because what happened at the end of this episode where the airship goes down and this dude looks extremely pissed, all of that's connected to that. So that was brilliant right there. I love that moment right there, because now we have an answer to what happened, because in the manga we were just told that the vessel went missing and that it was Victor's fault, and Victor was blaming Amato. And I like how this episode just tied everything in all together. Very brilliant. And I gotta say, one thing that this arc definitely accomplished very well is it made you look at the characters of Victor and Mujino, and it made you actually feel some sympathy for them, because these are characters in the manga nobody who read the manga gave two shits about them. Like, nobody cared about these characters. But dude, the way that they handled Victor in this episode, where you see the desperation, you see the fact that apparently he's had a curse mark on his body that is causing the enhancements that Amato made to his body. And for those of you guys who need a bit of a refresher, you didn't catch the line that they dropped in this episode that implied towards it, Amato enhanced all the members of Kara with the scientific ninja weapon tech. I like the fact that you see this right here, and how you see how important of a character that Amato is, and how much trust Jigen has in him, and yet at the same time Jigen keeps him at arm's length. And you see how that conflicts with a character like Victor, who has his own goals and schemes, and you see how Victor and Amato don't really trust each other, and it's almost like a little bit of a rivalry, because Amato worked on Victor, and yet Victor has a medical research company. So that right there shows you that Amato, in terms of being the more intelligent one, is clearly the more intelligent one, and yet Victor still tries to one up this dude and come up with a plan. And I like that little back and forth between those two. It's like a rivalry between nerds. I thought that was pretty cool, man. And what I like here is that, you know, the more desperate that Victor becomes, the sloppier he's getting. I love that. I love that, because if you just look at how the character is introduced, and then you look at how we got into this point now, Victor's had a very clear arc. Before, he's a character that nobody really cared about. Now when you look at him and you see this desperation, and you see the scientific ninja weapon tech that he's got that enhances his regeneration ability, all of a sudden this dude, he's at death's door. He's rapidly approaching it, and he makes a very good point. He says like, hey, I dumped a lot of my personal money into the vessel in order to help it get to stage 3 and to further Jigen's plans, and yet I might not live long enough to actually see this unfold. And that's just a very human reaction. That's just a different side of Victor that you see right there, as well as the other members of Kara. Now all of a sudden it makes sense why Delta is as pissed off as she is during that meeting. So much of this makes sense. And speaking of the character of Delta, I love how they use the opportunity of Victor doing his scheming. You see the interaction between Delta and Amato, and what I love in this moment right here is that it confirms a line, in my opinion, in the Boruto manga, where there was a little bit of a mix-up between the official translation and the translation that the fine people who translated the Boruto manga for us back before we got them the same day with Viz Media via the Manga Plus app. But there was a translation that happened where they referred to a relationship between the characters of Amato and with Delta, and it's not a relationship in the sense like, oh my god, like they're, you know, kissing and it's nothing like that. It's nothing like that, but there's another layer to their relationship, and I feel like they kind of teased that a little bit, so I thought that that was really cool. And what I like here is the fact that when you get to see Delta's interaction, I really feel like they nailed the character here. Because Delta's quick-tempered, Delta has a potty mouth on her, Delta is also very childish, and I feel like they nailed the character voice so well in this. I enjoyed every minute of Delta's interactions on screen, because again, I really feel like the character's voice was absolutely brought to life, man. What I also like is how, you know, you see how Amato's just getting kind of jerked around, and again, it shows you the importance of the character, and yet it shows you that with the character of Amato, he's in control, but he's not in control. And one of the things that you see right here is the fact that all the members of Kara, they're so dependent on Jigen's plan. That's something that Amato drops in there, and you see Jigen, which get used to this, but you see Jigen with the wine bottle, and you see him with a glass of wine, and my dude's saying, hey, why didn't you tell me that the vessel had already entered into stage 3? What the hell's going on? Didn't you think I need to know something like that? And it's one of those things where if you read the manga, you know exactly what else is going on in this conversation right here. There's a conversation beneath the actual conversation. And it's stuff like this when the anime actually does it. Like anime only fans, like they're like, what the freak is going on? Manga fans see this and they say, oh, okay, they're setting this up right here. I love that. I love that aspect of it right there. Great setup on this end. And I like how you get this really cool shot where, you know, you see Jigen and he's just all in Amato's personal space, and that's as much of a threat as it is a confirmation between the two of them. So I thought that that was cool right there. I like how they talk about the airship, which again, that's something in the manga that we had suspicions of. We knew that Victor was in charge of having the vessel transported, but we didn't know the full details. And so this stealth airship that Victor had, this is all part of Victor's plan in order to gain control of the vessel and get a bargaining chip with Jigen. All of a sudden, it's loaded with those scientific ninja weapon tool dolls that Amato has created, and it's for the purposes of guarding the vessel as well as testing out the vessel in a combat setting. Amato says like, hey, we'll use your airship, but if we're gonna use it, you're not gonna be on there. I'm gonna pre-program the coordinates. I don't trust you being on that airship. Victor says fine, but that's because he's downloaded so much information. And at the end of the episode, Victor, I think the wheels are starting to turn in his head, because he's realizing, wait a second, there's nothing wrong with my stealth equipment, and yet all of a sudden the stealth equipment on the airship is being shot to hell. There's engine failure going on, the airship is going down. I can't afford for this to actually fail. I need to get my hands on that vessel. And so I like that. I like that because again, it directly sets up so much, and this will be the episode that changes so much for the Boruto anime. Now, moving back over to the members of Team 7, I gotta say, I like how they got their meeting with the Hokage, and they directly set up the Naruto versus Boruto sparring match, which I know for myself personally, I have been waiting to see this episode animated for 2 years, and the fact that that episode is right around the corner, holy crap, dude, I'm getting so excited, man. I'm getting so excited because I cannot wait for that Naruto versus Boruto fight. I thought that, you know, again, this was actually pretty cool, man, and I like how one of the things you see is Delta even says, are you sure we can actually trust Victor? And I love the fact that Delta is just throwing dookie shots at all the members of Car, and it shows you a lot about her personality as well as her standing in the organization, which is going to be very important going forward when Delta gets her major fight that's coming up in not this upcoming Vessel arc, but what happens directly after the Vessel arc. She has a very important fight you guys are going to see. Again, every time Delta was on screen, she popped for me, so I love her voice, and I actually love Amado's voice. I can't wait to see Kashin Koji's voice actor, because if I'm not mistaken, Kashin Koji's voice actor is going to be Gojo's voice actor from Jujutsu Kaisen. So overall, this was a very important setup episode. I'm going to break my rule for a second. I'm actually going to give this episode a 7.5 out of 10. I enjoyed this episode a lot, man. I enjoyed it a lot simply for everything that's been set up, and this is an important episode. And next week's episode, we're getting some development on the character of Mujino. I can't wait to actually see that one. It's gonna be another transition episode like this one, but if you read the manga, you know why that episode is gonna be very important. So my episode question for you guys is, what are your thoughts? What are your thoughts about the introduction of Kara into the anime and the introduction of the inners? How did you like the character relationships that are shown off here? And just as a reminder, if you're waiting on the Boruto manga volume chapter review for chapter 53, the chapter review will be coming out later today. I just had to get the anime episode done first because the anime episode came out first. But as always, guys, if you like anything I had to say, don't forget to comment, rate, subscribe, and share. Thank you so much for watching all the way to the end. Have an awesome day, guys.